What other action movies could get away with making a trilogy based upon the murder of a dog? Only these. And only this could basically, as far as we can tell, get away with making a trilogy of films so closely linked in time that it still feels like one story, despite not seemingly having had any plans for sequels after the first one. Of course, I'm saying all this and still calling it a trilogy, despite the fifth one now having been announced to film back-to-back with the fourth so that they can be released 2022-2023 consecutively, I think, which is just mental. But given that I think the third one made, 5 times as much as the first, it makes a lot of sense. If you don't know, which seems pretty damn unlikely at this stage, John Wick is a trilogy so far of films about a man named John Wick who never ages and is unsurprisingly played by Keanu Reeves. Somehow John Wick manages to be the most incredibly talented assassin and fighter in the world, yet everybody around him seems to say that he's slowed down because he's been retired for 5 years. I don't get how they always think he's not as good as he was. He just gets better every film. Like, when is he going to reach his full potential again? However, after the death of his wife, John is left alone with just the dog for company, and then the dog is murdered by the son of a Russian crime syndicate boss. Because to get John Wick going again, you really need to, pile on the deaths on top of one another, So your wife is dying of a terminal disease. Oh, she's left you this puppy. Oh, the puppy's dead too. You have nothing. Now it's time to go back to the life of an assassin. What? It's a real kind of gut punch followed by an uppercut, that's... they knock John Wick down, then he gets up again. You're never gonna keep him down. That's just song lyrics. Of course, all this happened after John previously worked for Tarasov in his previous life and earned his retirement with his wife via an impossible task, which is kind of hinted at. We kind of think it's like multiple impossible assassinations in a row. We never really find out though, and it's kind of not mentioned at all by the third film, so we might never find out. Now John uses his somewhat rusty skills, apparently, to go after both Tarasov and his son, while also introducing an extremely complicated mythology around the world of John Wick, including the Continental Hotel, a safe place for assassins where no business can be conducted at any time. So how good is this initial foray into the strange and unique world of the Baba Yaga, as he is called? Well, here is my 1-minute review for John Wick.
How good's your laundry?
No one's that good.
I thought not.
I mean, this is magnificent. Despite it just being Russian mobsters and untrained people that John goes up against for the most part, the franchise was already known for this incredible style of action sequences used, primarily taking cues from, anime and martial arts films and using fight choreographers and a fight style called gun fu, which is magnificent, from Hong Kong action cinema. This is all kind of down to the fact that Chad Stahelski, a former stunt performer and coordinator, was taking the helm as a first-time director here, and he just kind of went full on. He was like, you know what, we can have this story, we can have this cool mythology, but at its core, this is just about brutally epic fight scenes. Keeping a reasonable story together through these fluid, beautiful sequences of bloody wonder. It's not easy. It is not easy. To put something like this together, it is magnificently hard, but it is marvelous to watch. It is still so good, and that's why I'm giving it 82 out of 100. A truly great modern action movie with a style that'll keep it enjoyable to watch probably forever. After that, everyone kind of went, oh hell, this is awesome, and quickly made another. Despite the first one, it was made on a budget of about 20 million. Only made 80 or 90 million. R-rated movies, it's hard for them to make much more than that, really. But they trusted it. They went, okay, let's go for a second round. This time John is visited by an Italian crime lord, because we've already done Russians, so that's old news, who has a marker that John gave him in return for help in the impossible task that allowed him to retire. And that's basically the last time they'll mention that. We still don't know any more about it, really. This marker means that John must answer his call and do him a favour, namely murder his sister, who is a member of the High Table, which is basically the end-all be-all gods, the 12 crime bosses in charge of this whole underworld mythology they've got going on, until the third film. He wants to take her place at the High Table, so he needs her murdered. Sibling love. Unfortunately, John refuses to honour the marker, then the Italian crime lord destroys his house. John goes to the Continental looking for refuge, but the owner, Winston, tells him, well, 2 rules of the underworld. Don't spill blood on the Continental, done in every film, by the way. And 2, always honor your markers. So, sheesh. Ho. And John has to go and kill his sister, but then the guy's all like, oh, this guy killed my sister, I'm putting out a bounty on him. What the fuck? Dickish move. Dickish move. And then John is in trouble. So how does all of that madcap crap go? Here is my 1-minute review for John Wick 2.
John Wick. You're not very good at retiring.
I'm working on it.
I mean, the advantage this film has is what is often the curse of sequels, that you have to raise the stakes. But it's interesting to think, you know, in comparison to where we get to in like the 3rd film alone, never mind what's going to happen in the 4th and 5th. In the 1st film, the stakes are stunningly low. You know, he's just fighting Russian mobsters and some Russian crime lord. He's not even on the high table, you know. So now he's fighting a high table member, and it's like, well, big times, okay, big stuff, and it's just bigger, you know. He's fighting better trained people. You've got, instead of these nameless random fight scenes with a lot of multiple guys or with 50-year-old men as the climactic final fight scene, you've got, well, John Wick is a 50-year-old man. Also, I mean, the cliffhanger ending at the end of this. I don't want to spoil too much, but like, I'm going to have to do a review of the 3rd one in a second. But it is just, that is an incredible ending. You just kind of go, ha, oh, here we go. You know, I'm giving this one 83 out of 100. It is slightly better than the first because those stakes are raised, and it turns that to its advantage, where a lot of sequels failed to. Then they continued, mostly because the sequel made like twice as much as the first film, and they had that epic cliffhanger, so if it hadn't continued, we'd be raging. That doesn't happen with action series. Nobody needs a threequel for these things normally. In John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, John becomes excommunicado from the underworld and has a huge bounty on his head because he took out a high table member. Even though it wasn't very fair and it was all, yeah, if he actually sat down and explained this to someone, they'd be like, oh, well, no, yeah, we won't chase you, that wouldn't be fair. But, well, that's not how this world works. We find out a little tiny bit about John's past, which is quite interesting, as he escapes all the way to Casablanca, where he meets Halle Berry, and has to go after, well, not go after, but go find the man above the high table, because that's a thing now. On his journey to redemption, John almost has to take out Winston himself before teaming up with him, turning the entire Continental against the underworld in an epic finale! With even more epic people turning out to be assassins, making you wonder why they bother calling it the underworld. Everyone's involved in it. It's just the world. We head into the future with John. Here's my 1-minute review for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. This time, John is facing some of the very best in the world. You know, at the end in the Continental, she's all like, oh, we're sending some of our best people in. And then John goes fucking through them like nothing, okay? And then he takes on all of the people of that guy's cartel, you know, all of his followers or whatever. And that's a hard time, but he still manages it. And now you're kind of going, who's better? Who have they got left to fucking put him against? Some of the fights, particularly at the beginning, when he's running and then he's in the weaponry store facing off against that clan, oh my god, that immediately told me the ante has been upped once again, folks. And then any scene including Halle Berry, holy crap, were those all incredible. Even though this one kind of makes you sort of go, wow, the mythology of the underworld's getting a bit kooky and crazy for me, it doesn't matter because the action scenes are so good that at this point 4 and 5 the story could just fall apart entirely and it would probably still be magnificent to watch. I'm giving this 84 out of 100. Just boom 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 with the John Wick series, which is unbelievable. They're just all so close, but it just gets a little bit better every time. And that's all for this 1-minute review ranking, guys. I can't think of like a secret 1-minute review to stuff in here. I don't know, but John Wick 2, John Wick 3 on top. So, let me know what you'd like me to rank next, and please subscribe. Bye!